If you walk into a high-end steakhouse and order a $90 Wagyu ribeye, the waiter is going to ask you one simple question. But your answer to that question tells the kitchen everything they need to know about you. It tells them if you are a connoisseur, a traditionalist, or, in their eyes, a lost cause. Most of us think we're just choosing a temperature. We think we're just deciding how much red we want to see, but the reality is far more complex. We are choosing between different chemical reactions, different fat rendering points, and 2 centuries of culinary warfare. How did a meat puck on a stick become a status symbol? Why is the most expensive meal in the world sometimes served completely raw? And why does a certain combination of steak and seafood have absolutely no culinary logic, yet remain the king of the menu? You asked me to decode the heat, the history, and the plate. Today, we aren't just cooking meat. We are tracing the evolution of the flame. Welcome to Food Genesis. Let's decode the steak, the blue rare, and the French butcher. We start at the extreme edge of the spectrum. Blue rare. In most American chain restaurants, if you order your steak blue, the server will probably hesitate. They might even ask if you're sure. That's because a blue rare steak is only on the heat for about 60 seconds per side. The outside is seared at an incredibly high temperature, a quick flash of fire, but the inside remains cold and completely raw. The internal temperature never climbs above 115 F. The name comes from France, where it's called bleu. If you look at high-quality raw beef before it hits the pan, it often has a very faint, almost imperceptible bluish tint. French butchers developed this style for a very specific type of customer, the person who wants the flavor of the animal itself, unaltered by the chemical changes that heat brings to protein, the Maillard reaction and the rare minimum. Then we move to rare. For most serious steak eaters, this is the floor. This is the minimum acceptable level of doneness. A rare steak hits about 125 F internally. The outside is brown and crusty, but the inside is a deep, warm red. It's soft, but it isn't cold like the blue steak. To get that crust, we have to talk about the Maillard reaction. This is the holy grail of cooking. It's a chemical reaction between amino acids and reducing sugars that gives browned food its distinctive flavor. But here's the trick. The Maillard reaction requires a surface temperature of at least 280 F. How do you get a 280-degree crust and a 125-degree center at the same time? The answer is physics. Heat moves slowly through dense muscle tissue. A chef is playing a game of chicken with the clock, pulling the meat off the heat at the exact microsecond, where the crust is maximized, but the interior hasn't yet begun to tighten. The golden standard, medium rare. Now we reach the king of the menu, medium rare. If you ask any professional chef in the world how a steak should be eaten, they will say medium rare. This is the sweet spot, between 130 and 135 F. At this temperature, something magical happens to the fat. In a rare steak, the fat is still solid. In a medium rare steak, the fat begins to render, meaning it melts. As that fat turns to liquid, it bastes the meat from the inside out, releasing a flood of flavor that a rare steak simply can't match. The muscle fibers are relaxed enough to be tender, but they've developed enough structure to give you a satisfying bite. Why? Because at 160 F, the quality of the meat no longer matters. All the moisture has evaporated, the fibers have contracted, and the nuance of the beef is gone. The exception, why you might want medium. However, there is an exception to the medium rare rule, and it involves the most expensive beef in the world, Wagyu. High-grade Wagyu is packed with intramuscular fat, or marbling. Experienced steak eaters often order these high-fat cuts at medium 140-145 F rather than medium rare. Why? Because the extra heat is necessary to melt that massive amount of fat. If you eat a high marble ribeye too rare, the fat stays waxy and heavy on the tongue. By pushing it to medium, you turn that fat into a buttery sauce that permeates every single fiber of the meat, the mystery of tartare and the Mongol legend. But what if we take the heat away entirely? Steak tartare is a dish of completely raw beef, finely chopped and mixed with capers, onions, and a raw egg yolk. There is a famous legend that this dish comes from the Mongol warriors of Genghis Khan. The story goes that they would place raw meat under their saddles as they rode across the steppes, using the weight of the rider and the heat of the horse to tenderize the meat. It's a great story. It's also almost certainly a lie. Food historians have found no evidence that the Mongols ate this way. So, what is a steak, really? Is it a 130-degree science experiment? Is it a 1960s status symbol? Or is it a raw connection to our most primal history? The truth is, a steak is a mirror. It reflects the culture of the person eating it. Whether you want it blue, medium, or raw with an egg on top, you are participating in a story that began the moment humans first dropped a piece of meat into a fire. The heat changes the meat, but the meat has also changed us. I'm glad we could decode this together. I'm your host for Food Genesis. Stay curious,